Good evening. Welcome to worship. Thursday evening devotions here on Maundy, Thursday. We're glad that you're able to join us. We're going to be having some responsive readings this evening, and they will be in different colors. So I would invite you to choose who's going to read orange or who's going to read red. Or if you're by yourself, you can read both orange and red, or you could read one or the other. This evening, Shua will be reading the orange in Hmong, and Ali will be reading the orange in English, and Jennifer will be reading the red in Hmong, and Mondo will be reading the red in English. So we're really trying to be bilingual tonight, so here's hoping that it works out well. We're getting everything lined up, including our dogs are here to help us this evening. Okay, so here we go with the call to worship. Okay, wait, we're going to try it again. Okay, a little technical difficulty. We're going to back it up and try again.
The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with you.
And also with you.
Taste and see the goodness of the Lord.
Christ has prepared a feast of love.
Our opening hymn is Just As I Am.
Just as I am, without one plea, that thy love was shed for me, and that thou bidst me come to thee, O Lamb of God, I come, just as I am, and waiting not to rid my soul of one dark blot, to thee whose blood can cleanse each spot, O Lamb of God, I come, just as I am, though tossed about with many a conflict, many a doubt, fightings within and fears without, O Lamb of God, I come, just as I am, poor, wretched, blind, sight which is healing of the mind, yes, all I need in thee to find, O Lamb of God, I come, just as I am, thou wilt receive, wilt welcome, pardon, cleanse, relieve, because thy promise I believe, O Lamb of God, I come, just
Maundy, Thursday, we gather for a meal. The disciples with Jesus gathered for what we call the Last Supper. And we've been reading in the Gospel of John this week. And the Gospel of John tells the story just a little bit differently. In John, the disciples actually gathered the day before the Passover meal. And the symbolism being that Jesus was then slain on the day of preparation when all the lambs were slain. Right? That Passover lamb whose blood was poured out for us. But the other three Gospels have them gathering for the Passover meal. It's a celebration of liberation, and everybody comes for a big party. A big party. And so I want you to think about a big party and what would you have at a big party? Because the food that Jesus blessed that night was the food that was on the table. He didn't say, oh, be sure to go out and get a loaf of bread and be sure to get some wine. He had what was in front of him. And he took the symbolism of that meal and he transformed it for us. Right? It's a celebration of God's liberating power. And how does God liberate us? This is what we need to be talking about tonight. Where have we encountered God's love in such a profound way that our lives were shifted and changed and that we were freed, right? That we had a new understanding, that we had a big paradigm shift. This is a big weekend for paradigm shift. And I want you to be thinking about that. I want you to really meditate on that, reflect on it, talk with each other about it. As you gather around the table, where were you freed? What moment was it for you when you realized that you had been set free? I can tell you a quick story for me. I was working a 12-step program. And the first step, we came to understand that we can't control our lives. And I think for all of us, I hope that we've come this year, most especially, to realize that we don't really have control, right? That suddenly everything has changed. And all of our plans went out the window. I had not planned to invite you to dinner on Maundy, Thursday at my table. But here we are, and I'm glad to have you here with me, right? I'm glad to have you here with me. So anyway, first step, we lost control. We came to understand that a power greater than ourselves could help us. And I someday will tell you about my conversion experience when God named me and claimed me and brought me home. It was beautiful, powerful, unforgettable experience for me. And then we want to turn our will and our lives over to God, and then we were going to make a searching and fearless moral inventory, and that part kind of bogged me down because I really didn't want to look at all that sin. I really, really didn't want to look at all the sin. And the next week we came back and we were supposed to tell that list to one other person, and I had to confess I hadn't even made the list. I just couldn't bring myself to look at all that sin and all that brokenness, and much less to tell it to somebody else, right? And so then we came back the next week for the 6th step, and we came back the next for the 7th. But I'm still back on the 4th step. I still haven't made that list. I still haven't looked to really see where all that sin and all that brokenness. And as I was praying about it, it was Holy Week. It was Holy Week, and it was either Maundy, Thursday, or Good Friday day when I was praying about this, and I realized God spoke to me and helped me to understand that doing this 4th step actually was liberating. I've been hauling all this garbage around, and I didn't even want to look at it. I was so afraid to look at it, and God was like, just take it out and get rid of it. Stop hauling it around. You don't need it. It's not making your life better. Let's sit down together, says God, and go through it and get rid of it. Stop hauling it around with you. And when I received that message, when I understood that message in a new and powerful way, I couldn't wait to sit down and make that list, and I couldn't wait to go and share it with another person, and I couldn't wait to go and tell everybody how sorry I was for the way I'd been goofing up their lives and trying to help them and actually not being helpful at all, being really critical and judgmental. And I want to tell you, I was freed. And I'm not going to pretend like I never start misbehaving and go back to the old ways, but I will say that there has been a paradigm shift in my life. And I celebrate that. So what food would I put on the table to celebrate that, right? In my family, we always have sparkling cider at celebration. So I got my sparkling cider. I got my pita bread to go with the hummus. I'm ready to eat, right? I'm going to get some cheese and some olives on the table pretty soon. Maybe we're even going to have some kebabs or something wonderful. And we'll sit around and we'll talk about how love has set us free. And that's the next thing I need to talk to you about for just a minute. Because the name of this day, Christian tradition, we call it Maundy Thursday. And we celebrate the Lord's Supper, but really, Maundy means commandment. It's the Latin word for commandment. Maundy Thursday is the day when Jesus gave us a new commandment. And as we're reading the New Testament a year together, this week we're reading in John. And that's where Jesus gives us that new commandment. John records that Jesus says, "A new commandment I give unto you." Do you know? Say it with me. "That you love one another as I have loved you." Let's say that again. "A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you." A powerful, beautiful commandment, and extremely challenging. As he was sitting at table with one who would betray him, he didn't deny that person food or treat that person badly. He loved that person, right? To the very end. As all his disciples would deny, would desert him, he loved them. As the people would murder him, within 24 hours he had been tortured to death. And what did he say on the cross? He said, "Forgive them," right? That kind of love. How do we embody that love? It's got to be a paradigm shift, people. So in these coming days, I invite you to really think about how God's love has set you free, but also, where are we holding back from allowing that love to fill us completely so that we can follow that commandment that Jesus gives us? "A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you." God feeds us body and soul. And so let's have a closing prayer together and a closing song. In just a minute, as soon as the camera people get back to the cameras and turn them back to the slides so that we can do our closing program, closing part, sorry.
Blessed are you, eternal God, ruler of the universe.
Who feeds the whole world with your goodness.
And with grace, kindness, and mercy gives food to every creature.
For God's mercy endures forever.
Blessed are you, O eternal God,
who gives food to all.
each man's dignity and save each man's pride. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love.
May you abide in the freedom and most especially in the love of Jesus. As we go forth, let's hear the Yang family sing for us once again. They'll know we are Christians by our love.